Mic check. Checking the mic. Audio is happening. Let's make sure everything is where it should be. I haven't done this in a while. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Not that many issues. What's up? I'm him. Today is the last day of the month. It's hard to believe that the first month of the new year is already over. Actually, it's not that hard to believe. I don't really care. Time is an illusion. It doesn't really matter to me. But I have noticed that it seems to be accelerating, which could be a good or a bad thing. I don't really know. But yeah, I haven't done a stream in a while, so I figured I would before I go out about my day. It's currently 10:42, and I need to go to the shop in a little bit to make my next batch of sparkling tea. I've tinkered with the recipe a little bit, reduced the sugar. Um, we'll see how it tastes. It takes like a week to carbonate, unfortunately, because I don't have the ability to carbonate at extremely high pressures where I can get it to mix instantly. So I'm basically having to sit and let it wait for a week to fully carbonate. I gotta go grocery shopping because I'm out of groceries. Yeah. Interesting thing about groceries. Just last week, it was supposedly going to be a winter storm, so I decided to stock up on groceries. And I had my mom and my niece come through. And yeah, my groceries only lasted a week. $300 worth of stuff. And it's not like I got a lot of stuff, really. I got $20 worth of oranges, and that sounds like a lot, I know. But that was only 5 oranges. Yeah. $20. It was actually 18. I'm lying. It's $18, but I paid $18 for 5 oranges. And it got me thinking. I go around telling people that I'm broke, which I guess I technically am. I haven't really been gainfully employed for a while. And I'm wondering, like, how are people affording groceries? I mean, obviously, well, it's not obvious. I can afford to pay for my groceries for now. But it got me wondering. I'm just like, man, is this why people are getting $5,000 a month in food stamps? I don't qualify for food stamps, unfortunately. I haven't for a long time. So I get to use my money that I saved up like an adult. Which, I guess it's a good thing that I've saved up money. But I don't like having to spend my money when there are other people who also get to spend my money. I think for the past 10 years, I have not paid less than $85,000 a year in income taxes, as well as, all the other taxes that I pay here locally, like the state tax, which a lot of that is from your property. And obviously, taxes are paid for when you rent an apartment by the landlord. Also, sales tax, which is effectively a consumption tax. So it would make sense that if you buy a lot of crap, which, as you can see, I have a lot of crap. You pay 8.25%, 6.25% of that goes to the state, and then the other 1% 2% comes to the city. Yet for whatever reason, I also don't qualify for unemployment. That's also great. Don't understand why. Well, I do. I did. I ran out last year. I think I got like $6,000. I'm just like, this is literally a month of expenses. Like just a month, literally. I think you get like 12,000, but I was just like, fuck it. I'll just use my own money for now. Because fortunately, I listened to others who told me to save money, and I did that. Thank God. I think I got a chat message. Oh, yo, what's up, Casual? Yes, it is a live stream because I said in the Discord that I was going to do a live stream this week, And if I don't do it today, it's not going to happen because tomorrow I got meetings at the shop and I got other stuff I need to do. Plus, I'm not really feeling that well. Like, I seem fine now. I just took some medicine. But at night, it feels like I have a cold or something. So um, I am also worried that I'm not even going to be able to go to my meeting tomorrow. But hopefully, there's been a lot of weather shifts here. It's currently, what is it outside? Let me see. Let me check. I just went out there. It was cold as fuck. Okay, it's currently 5 degrees outside. Let me what's that in Fahrenheit for you non-international people? 5C F. All right, it's 41 degrees out there right now. It's not too bad. But it's supposed to get down to, what is it? What's the low today? Oh, it's supposed to get down to 0. That's 32. And then tomorrow, it's supposed to get down to -2. That's about 28, 30, 28, 30, around that range. And then it's going to go back to the huge temperature differential. So on Monday, the low is 4 degrees, which is basically what it is right now. And the high is 21 degrees. And it's going to do that back and forth for the next, basically all week. And that kind of stuff kills me. It literally. So that's what I've been going through. It was what's today? Today is Saturday? Yeah. Today is Saturday. I think on Thursday it was in the 70s. Wednesday it was in the 30s and 40s. Friday it was in the 30s and 40s. Today is in the So that going back and forth, it really messes me up. And I have to go outside at least 3 times a day because I have a dog. Imagine that, a man with responsibilities. I had to go out and walk him, so I had to be out in the elements. And yeah, it's not great for me. But yeah, hopefully everyone's been well. I know I haven't streamed in a while, and that's mostly because I haven't felt like it. I ain't gonna lie. I don't really have anything else going on. There's no reason why I can't stream, but sometimes I just want to work in peace or just keep to myself. Believe it or not, I am a very introverted person, right? I don't really like going out. I don't even really like talking to people. Not even gonna lie. I prefer sitting here at my desk, at my computer, doing this. I like hearing myself type. Some people like hearing themselves talk. I actually hate hearing myself talk. Believe it or not, even though I'm doing these live streams. Yeah, I figured I'd hop on and talk about all the things that are going on. It's a lot. It's a lot of things going on. There are things happening in China. There's things happening in Iran. There are things happening in Palestine, even though no one's really talking about that anymore. There's still things happening in Venezuela. There are things happening in Argentina. Obviously, there are lots of things happening here in America, different places. It almost feels like we are coming to a head. I am wondering when we're going to get to a point where the majority of people, not just people like me, but the majority of people wake the fuck up. It's getting kind of annoying being surrounded by useful idiots. Really. I've long said, but normally I just talk to people in my small circle, but I often will tell them that there's this tool called divide and conquer. It's something that I learned at a relatively young age. I'm saying relative because I'm damn near 40. I learned this at around 18. And it's this concept called divide and conquer. Now, I didn't learn it from a military or a political context. I learned it from a mathematical / computation context. You see, we have 2 functions that kind of are the flip side of one another. We have the exponentiation function and we have the logarithmic function. And it turns out that if you can convert something to a logarithmic function, you get to reap the benefits. Let's go to a computation context. We have let's go to sorting. I think that's a good one. Or we can go to a data structure context if that's preferable. But we'll go to sorting first. The most naive way that you can sort something, you know what? I might need to go get my deck of cards for this. Oh, my state is in the news too much? Maybe. I don't watch the news, really. I watch the stuff that y'all will post in the Discord. But beyond that, I don't really watch TV. I know I'm weird. I also don't care about a lot of things. That's the other thing. And people tell me that I'm the weird one for not caring about shit. I'm just like, why would I care about things that are not within my control? It makes no sense to me. But I will also add that most of the people who are saying that I'm weird are in the majority. Now, you know, maybe you're someone who's like, oh, it's good to be in the majority. Well, the majority of rich people are not in the majority. They're in the minority. I'm in the minority of a lot of things. I'm just like, why would I associate myself with what's happening in the majority? Like, I don't control it. It doesn't affect me. And the reason why it doesn't affect me is because I don't let it affect me. You know, it's not because it can't affect me. It's just that, no, I don't let it affect me. You know? Oh, side story while I go get these cards. I got a ticket yesterday. And I didn't get shot. I didn't get killed. You know, I had a cop, come in. He gave me a ticket. Interaction lasted like 5 minutes. I wasn't doing anything. It's just my car was not registered. So it's whatever. Let me go get these cards. Y'all might learn something today. This is actually how I learned sorting was with all the different sorting algorithms, rather. It was with a deck of cards. Obviously, cards have 52 minus these two. And obviously, cards have a rank. So we'll just go by rank. I'm going to just pick out a few cards. Not a lot. We only need a few. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I have 6 cards. 6 cards, right? Here they are. 6 cards. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take out the face cards. So I only have 2 cards. Let me get some more cards. All right. That way I don't have to deal with faces. There's a song called Smiling Faces that I like, by the way. Unrelated. All right, yeah, I have 6 cards. Non-face cards. There are a few ways that you can sort cards, right? You know, obviously these are in whatever order they came in, so they're unsorted. Here's one way you can sort some cards. I call it the dumb way. You can take this card, which what card is this? Well, let's start. It's flipped for me. Let's take this 3 right here. See that 3? They're gonna focus. God damn it, focus! You fucking dumbass camera. All right, you know what? I am sick. I'm just, man. My camera has facial recognition, and for whatever reason, it's always trying to recognize the picture that's behind me. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I don't care anymore. I'll just cover up. There you go. All right, fuck it. It's a 3. Just trust me. Here's one way that you can sort this. I call it the dumb way. You can say, all right, I have this 3 right here, and I have this 10. Depending on what order you're trying to sort, you can sort ascending or descending. Let's just do ascending. So we have this 3 right here. And what you have to do is say, all right, wait, it's backwards. Is this 3 less than this? The answer is yes. Put this card down. Is this 3 less than this? If the answer is yes, put this card down. Is it less than this? That's a 4, by the way. Yes, we'll put that down. Is it less than this? No, it's not. Let's swap these. Well, actually, we can't swap it yet. We'll just kind of hold on to it. Is this 3 less than this? No, we'll put that down. So now we swap. And then you got to do the whole process over and over and over and over again. Now, if you're counting, which you should be, we start off with 6 cards. And then we have the first one, which is sorted. So we have 5 cards. And once we get the second one that's sorted, we have 4 cards. And we just keep going down and down and down, except we're having to iterate through each of these cards every single time. It's a lot of work. What you end up having is something that is n times n minus 1. And cyclomatic complexity, not cyclomatic complexity, I'm sorry. Guys, what do we call it? I forget what you called it. Asymptotic. I think it's asymptotic complexity. What you could do is you can get rid of that constant, the minus 1, and you're left with n times n to the minus 1. You get rid of the minus 1, n times n, and you get a quadratic function. The computation grows with the input quadratically. That's a very bad situation. It's not the worst, but it's not great. There's a flip side to this. What if instead of doubling each time, you can half it each time? That's what divide and conquer is. So what we could do is we can say, all right, well, we have 6 cards. Screw that. We're not going to sort 6 cards. We're going to sort 3 cards. Well, screw this. We're not going to sort 3 cards. It's better to sort 1 card, because 1 card is always sorted. Okay, this is sorted. And then you go through your other things and you sort those, and then you compose them back up. So essentially, instead of doing the order of n squared operations, you can do the order of log base 2 n operations. And where this is beautiful is with the input. So let's say that you have a million things that you want to sort. You only need 20 comparisons. Well, we shouldn't say sort, because sorting is n log n. I lied. Let's talk about search. I think that's easy. That's better. Instead of having an order of, oh, we have to look through each of these things every single time, we can half the input. So we're left with only 20 comparisons if we have a million things, or 30 comparisons if we have a billion things. If you're wondering how I'm able to do that, it's just logarithms, right? Like, what's log base 2 of about a million? It's about 20. I learned this a long time ago, and it's a very powerful concept, this divide and conquer. It means that you can effectively accomplish a goal in minimum amount of work. In a lot of cases, it's the best case, you know? And when you apply it to populations, it makes sense, because let's say that I am in the capital owning class and I want to make sure that I continue to own my capital so that I can extract my wealth from the people who have to use that capital. It would make a lot of sense to me if I divide those people up, so I'm not competing with a billion people. Let's use an easy. I'm not competing with a million people anymore. I'm competing with 500,000 and 500,000. Oh wait, I can bifurcate them again. So now I'm competing with 250,000, 250,000, 250,000. Well, if I can keep bifurcating, 20 times, instead of me competing with a million people in a group, I'm competing with individuals. And let's be real, it's a lot easier to compete against a single person than it is to compete against a large group. Now, obviously, then you're not really going to compete with just a single individual. You're always going to compete with groups. But those groups are small, and those groups are fighting themselves, so their energy is directed towards themselves and not towards the thing that actually affects them. Now, It's easy to do this because most people are not that smart. They're not that bright. And I'm going to prove it. I'm going to show, and I know I'm not sharing my screen now, but I will be in a second. Let's go ahead and do one of these things. Because I am on a live stream. I realize I'm on a live stream, so I can actually do this. I have my other camera over here because I was going to do an unboxing of my MPC XL that I ordered like 10 days ago. It got here on Monday, and I haven't opened it up yet. Let's see, IQ curve graph, whatever. Do this. I just want the picture. Okay, sure. We'll go with this. And we won't go with that because I can't actually click on the picture. Let's do no AI, and we'll do here. Maybe there's a picture here. All right, yeah, cool. Look at that. Here's a picture here. At least I can kind of do that, right? Now, as you can see, IQ is centered at 100. I mean, obviously, it's made up. We can center it on whatever we want. It's a normally distributed curve. 100 is the middle. So this is saying that half of the population has an IQ of 100 or lower. And also the flip side is true. Half of the population has an IQ higher than 100. An IQ of 70 is considered mentally retarded. That I'm not, this is, I know that means some people may be offended by that, but it's just like, that's actually the definition. Half of the population has an IQ under 100. Second thing is, a lot of people lead with their emotions. And when I say a lot of people, half of the population are emotionally driven. I'll leave it as a mental exercise for those of you who are actually watching this. Which half of that population tends to lead with their emotions? So just knowing two facts, you can split the US population just for argument purposes. Let's just say it's 350 million people. Just knowing these two facts, you can split it 4 different ways. You can half it 4 different ways. So out of 350 million, 175 million have an IQ under 100. And then out of that 175 million, half of those, which is what, 137, whatever, 37.5, have an emotionally driven way of thinking. So if you know just these two facts, you can socially engineer society or conditions. You can set up conditions so that you split these 4 different groups up. And obviously there is some cross intersectionality between these groups, right? Like you can also be someone who has an IQ under 100 and are emotionally driven. That should be obvious, but I don't know. I guess because I'm talking on the internet, I guess I have to say or state the obvious. Smart people understand these things, and you best believe that some of us take advantage of these facts. Think about today, right now, how divided people are over the dumbest shit. I think people who are this red versus blue, I think y'all are retarded. I'm not even sorry to say it. It's like, oh, my team, it's like blood Crips. To me, it's the same retarded shit. For whatever reason, no one can accept the fact that we are Americans or we are humans. Nah. We can't just be that. I have to be black. Oh, you have to be white. You have to be a Christian. You have to be a Jew. You have to be a Muslim. You have to be atheist. Oh, you have to be straight. you have to be gay. Like you can't just be American, which is, you have to find ways to divide yourselves, which is, to me, I think that's low IQ ways of thinking. But you may disagree, and I understand that. This is both the gift and the cursed. Curse. I don't know why the fuck I said cursed. Maybe because I think I'm cursed in certain ways. Of being gifted, IQ wise, is that by definition, most of the people on earth are not like you. They don't think like you. They don't have the mental capacity as you. So it's like they're not going to see the things that you see. It's something that I've struggled with for a while, and I didn't really understand it until I got older and I started to like learn more about statistics. When I'm older, it's like 16, 17, all that kind of stuff. I started to learn about probability distributions, and then when I map where I am and I see I see stuff like this, I'm like, maybe this is why I never fit in. Why I never understood why people are so, like, I'm a Lakers fan, and I'm a 76ers fan. I was like, who gives a shit? I've never understood it. But that's not to say that I didn't understand what was going on. I just didn't understand why people cared. And to this day, I am starting to understand that I can take advantage of it. Now, I haven't, because my principles prevent me from doing it. But I often wonder, I catch myself thinking, what if I was unprincipled? Or if my moral code isn't what it is? How easily I can take advantage of people around me. Like, literally. What's going on? My bad. Yeah, I've often wondered this. I'm just like, what if I just say screw it, fuck all people, I'm gonna just get mine and do me, knowing what I'm capable of. Not only am I capable physically, I'm not a small person, and I'm what you would call an athlete or former athlete, past glory. I don't have the trophies; they were all lost. But like, former athlete. Also, I'm not very dumb. I'll say it that way. And I have a lot of mental fortitude. I'm like, what if I just take advantage of people? What if I just started selling people courses, promising them that they're going to be able to have success like me if they only give me money? What if I was like that? What if I wanted to sell drugs and I chose to, I actually decided to, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna dedicate myself to doing something that is bad for my community, but is good for me. It's something I often struggle with. And I actually envy people who are able to just take advantage of y'all. I really do. Because I'm like, man, their life must be a lot easier. You know how many things I've turned down because I don't agree with it morally, and I'm just like, I will not support that. I will not support that. For instance, here's a good one. I was once offered a job at a defense contracting company in the Middle East when I was 19. I chose to not do that because I didn't want to be a part of that apparatus doing those things to people for things that I didn't agree with. I've always had this mentality that unless someone is doing something to me and mine, that's none of my business. And when we went to war with Iraq, sure, some people attacked some towers in another state and another city, both of which I don't even like the state of the city. Sure, it killed people. I don't know those people. They were working in corporate. Most of my family didn't work in corporate. They're either blue collar or they own their own businesses. And they all live in Texas. Why the hell would I go out to these other countries and start killing people who had nothing to do with that attack? And when I say nothing to do, I mean like they weren't the ones on the plane. The people who carried out the attack, they got theirs. They died. Makes no sense for me to want to go over there and fuck up the livelihood for millions of other people who, for like, let's just be real. I know a lot of you may not know this, but when you actually travel the world like I have, you start to understand that most people want the same shit as you. They want to be left the fuck alone. They want their children to have a good life, preferably a better life than they did. And they mostly just want to live in peace. You may also find that they have a lot of other things in common with you. They have some of the same problems, the same struggles, the same shit that we deal with here, they deal with there. But of course, smart people understand this. And if they can make billions or trillions of dollars convincing you to hate them, they're going to do that. Most Americans are brainwashed. It's actually quite pathetic because I used to have a lot of respect for the citizens of this country, but I've lost a lot of that respect. A lot of it, it's not recently. I don't want y'all to think that it has anything to do with what's going on today. It has everything to do with the fact that I left the country for 3 years. And I started to see, oh, there are things that are happening outside of America that no one talks about. Why did no one talk about it? Because Americans don't actually like to go out and learn about the world. They just like to turn on the TV and have things told to them. And they do that. When people say when I say people, I'm talking about Americans right now. When people say they watch the news, are they really watching the news or are they watching propaganda? Sure, it may not be by the state, but let's be real. A lot of the people who own, when I say people, the private individuals who own these news organizations, they make a lot of donations to political candidates in our government. I wonder why that is. I guess I'm the only one who wonders these types of things, which is part of the problem, is that most people are fucking asleep. They think that their enemy, let's say you're a Republican, a lot of Republicans think their enemy are the Democrats. And if you're a Democrat, a lot of them think that their enemy are the Republicans. Without understanding that in reality, it's always been the bourgeois, or the bourgeoisie, if you want to say it that way, and the proletariat. Is that how you say it? The proletarian? How the fuck you say it? Let's Google it. Proletarian. Yeah, there we go. This right here. This is essentially how it's always been. A lot of people have bought into this dream that there is a middle class, and there is truly a middle class. America was one of there are a few civilizations that had a middle class, but the middle class is a lot smaller than people think. They think middle class, if you look at a normal distribution, it's everyone in the middle. That's actually not the case, because when you look at earnings and wealth, it's not normally distributed. It's highly skewed, incredibly skewed. Let's see, income distribution. I want a graph, because I know some people need pictures to understand things. All right, here we go. For what it's worth, this is household income. Household. Why am I emphasizing household? Because typically in America, we define a household as two parents. That means two people. And as you can see here, if you're earning $200,000, well, shit, you're in the top 10% if you're earning $140,000 between two people. So divide that in half, and that means that they're both earning $70,000. You're in the top 10%. So what that should be setting off alarm bells. Like most of this is what skew is, right? Like it's all over here. Most people are poor. They're working class. Working class by definition is someone who has to work in order to provide for themselves. That's what working class is. Most people in America are working class. The middle class is quite small. I am fortunate enough to be in the middle class. Some people will be like, "Oh, you're rich." No, I'm not. I'm not rich. I understand what the fuck rich is. They have orders of magnitude more than what I have. I'm middle class. Middle class is simply someone who does not have to work in order to support themselves, to live. Like they all own they own assets, and they have cash. You can be high earner and still be working class. Typically, middle class is you have to have businesses, and you control wealth, and maybe not thousands of people, but you control the output, the economic output of, let's just, for arbitrary purposes, let's just say more than 10 people. For whatever reason, most people in America don't realize that they are in the same class. There's only really been one war that's been fought throughout all civilization, and it's based on socioeconomic status: rich versus poor. The poor have always outnumbered the rich by 100 to 1, and rich people understand that. At a very deep level, hell, I understand that because I was talking to one of my buddies. Technically he's middle class too, although y'all would say he's fucking rich. For real, for real. Like, middle class is you have $1 million to $5 million net worth. That's actually middle class. Most of you would call that rich. That's actually the rich are the rich are a little bit more. That's like 10 million. It's like we were talking. I was telling him how most of the people who I interact with are like me, meaning they are also either middle class or rich. They also have the same education for all, like, bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD. They're all professionals. They're all part of the managerial class or the capital owning class. And we always, we understand that we're few. Like, we understand it. Like, every time we get together, it's like we understand how outnumbered we are. Now, just imagine if working class people understood how much power they really have. To be honest, working class people have all the power. They only give it to the rich. How do they give it to the rich? Well, they allow rich people to divide them. So all of you, the 90% of you who are working class, for whatever reason, you think that your enemy is other working class people. Well, we know the reason, but you think your enemy is other working class people, when in reality, your enemy should be the rich. The people who actually control you. The people who control the media that you watch. Think about it. You don't pay to watch the news. The news is free. How is that? My grandpa told me when I was 6, nothing in the world is free. Nothing. Yet you get to watch the news for free. You're paying. How do these people make money? How much does a news anchor make? I wonder if y'all know that. News anchors can make up to 7 figures a year. They sign 8-figure contracts. For what it's worth, 8 figures means that you have 8 digits. That's 10 million plus. 8 figures. Where are they getting the money to pay these people 8-figure contracts when you're not paying to watch the news? Has anyone ever thought about that? I don't think so. 50K median household is so low. I don't disagree, but for whatever reason, people aren't looking at it that way. They're just like, oh, my enemy is this person who's making $35,000 a year. Without realizing that when you don't have money, you don't have power. Because you don't have time. Time is the ultimate power. Let's be real. Like, if someone is only making $35,000 a year, they don't have the time or the capital to do anything that's going to affect your life in any meaningful way. None whatsoever. Even people like me who are solidly in the middle class, not much I can do that will affect you. I just don't have the capital to do it. And I know between 1 million and 5 million, like to some people, that may sound like a lot, but like that's not enough. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. Think about it. Let's just do some math. Let's just say if you have $5 million net worth, all right? 5 million. Why is my thing going over there? We'll open up a calculator. How about that? We'll just open up the calculator. So let's say you have 5 million, 7-figure net worth. So you have 5 million. Let's divide that by, let's just say for argument's sake, the population of the United States is 350 million. That's 1 cent. Now, that if I were to take all of my wealth and try to do anything to affect you, all Americans, I only have 1 penny to do it. That's not enough money. Not enough capital. I can't think of a single thing that I can do for 1 cent. But let's say that instead of my net worth being $5 million, my net worth is $50 billion. Let's see how that changes things. 50 billion is what? 10 figures? I think that, yeah, that's 50 billion. Let's divide that by the population of America. $142. So if I wanted to do anything to affect any individual life or just all individual lives in America, I have 1 cent per person to do it. Someone who's rich has $142.85 to do it. Yet for whatever reason, people will look at me as if I am their enemy, as if I have any bearing on their life whatsoever. Instead of looking at corporations that will make $50 billion in a fucking year, they'll look at individuals and say, you're the reason why my life is bad. Instead of looking at a company like Apple and saying, well, hey, wait a minute. How do you all get to take advantage of tax subsidies? How do you get to do business in the most prosperous nation on earth and make all these profits using the capital and the infrastructure that we as tax-paying citizens pay for? How do you get to do this and then keep your money abroad and not pay taxes on it? While all of us, we have to, well, not all of us. If you make under a certain amount, you don't actually pay taxes. Let's be real. But like someone like me, where I'm paying anywhere between $80,000 to $400,000 a year in taxes, how the fuck is that fair? But then I have people in this country who are over here on this part of the graph looking at people like me and saying, oh no, you're the problem. It's retarded. All I can say is divide and conquer is the most powerful way to get what you want. Whether that be, well, when I say to get what you want, and when I say powerful, I mean that you don't have to put as much effort. If I really wanted to, go that direction and just say, you know what, people are animals. I'm going to get mine and I'm going to do what I can to make sure that I get mine and just fuck everybody else. If I wanted to go that route, of course I would divide and conquer. I already know people are emotional. Like, I can divide people in any way possible because for whatever reason, humans have this intrinsic desire to want to fraternize, to want to group up. It's very uncommon that you have people who are the opposite, where they prefer solitary and they don't really like to exist as a part of groups. But a lot of humans, they derive their safety and their status from being within a group. And I suppose that's always been my problem. So I don't really value status. And as far as safety, I ensure my safety. Why do I say that? Because in most groups, I am the outlier. In most groups, I am the most physically dominant person. I'm the tallest person. I'm the smartest person. These days, I'm like the one that has the most, whatever you want to call it. Like, in general, I understand that if I am in a group, I'm going to have to be the one that has to protect the group. So why the fuck would I want to be a part of the group, knowing that I'm gonna give more than I receive? That's always been my life. I typically give more than I receive. So why the hell would I want to exist as a part of a group? Anyways, in any case, I think more Americans need to wake the fuck up and realize that it's class warfare. We only have 3 classes. One of the classes is shrinking. It's the middle class. People like me being squeezed out. I pay the most taxes relative to my income, and I get the least benefits relative to my income. I don't qualify for a lot of things. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's because I make over a certain amount. For instance, when I got my Tesla, I didn't qualify for the $7,500 tax credit. Why? Well, shit, I make too much. Imagine that. Or let's say to some people who it may be a little bit more, it may resonate with them more. There are some people who don't qualify for financial aid because their parents make too much. Or let's go further down to the left or over to the left. There are certain people who don't qualify for food stamps because they make too much. This is a problem that happened in my community. When I say community, I'm using the term loosely, mostly because you all understand it. But like in reality, there is no community where I'm from. But there is a reason why there is a lot of single parent households. Did you know that if a man is living in the house, a lot of the times you can't get government benefits. So people who lead with their emotions, leave it as a mental exercise, who those people are. But people who tend to lead with their emotions, and who seek safety, they're going to say, all right, I'm going to do what I need to do to get money from the government, and I'm just going to not deal with you. And what you have is but multiple generations of people like me who grew up in single parent households. Because it's not that hard to convince a certain group of people to do something that's not in their best interest because they don't think logically, they think emotionally. And if I were to superimpose the IQ curve of these two groups of people, you'll find something quite interesting. Let me see if I'll find it right quick. Let me Google it. This graph is communicating a lot of things. Now, I'll interpret it for you. or you can interpret it yourself. It's pretty straightforward to see. I'm gonna go over some very basic definitions. All right, so there's something called variance. Okay, we'll go variance. Variance is the spread. Let me see if I can. Well, I know y'all won't understand. We'll stick with this. Variance is the spread. That's where you get standard deviation, by the way. And I want to add something. If anyone ever tells you an average without standard deviation, that person doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Average is a measure of central tendency, and you can't get an accurate measure of central tendency unless you have the variance to go along with it. And typically we boil down variance to the standard deviation. You take the square root, standard deviation. You can't have one without the other because you don't have a complete picture. But what you'll notice is that in media, most people, they'll give you averages. They'll be like, oh, average income is this. It's just like, that only works with stupid people. And I understand that, as we just said, half the population. There's this funny quote. I forget who it was, but he's basically just like, just take the dumbest person you know, and then understand that half the people are dumber than that. Which is interesting because just think about it. Like on average, you're going to meet someone who's average intelligent anyway. So, as you'll see here, the variance. Oh, come on now, and we know variance by this right here. So the less variance in a distribution, in a probability distribution, is going to go like this. The more variance, it's going to do like that. What does that mean? It means that there's a higher spread. There's more variability. So as we see here, as a percent of the population, IQ score. Middle, let's just assume this is 100 because IQ by definition is centered at 100. Just by definition. If you don't know that, you should go find that out. As we see here, more of this group is in the middle. What does that mean? This doesn't mean that their IQ is higher. It just means that out of all, assuming that both of the groups are equal, let's say, there are 100 people here, there are 100 people here. On average, more of these people are going to be in the middle. That's what that means. The score is on the x-axis. And as you can see here, as we go out to the extremes, more of these people exist at these IQ levels than these people in red. We'll call them the blues, the reds and the blues. More blue people have higher IQs than the red people. It also is on the flip side. The blue people, on average, there are more blue people who have a lower IQ than the red people. What this is trying to get at is that more of the red people are within a smaller range. We're not all equal. I know people say that, but we're not all equal. Now, this isn't to say that there are no red people who are at the extreme edges of the IQ. And for what it's worth, this is just a simplified graph. You can actually get like a one with numbers that's a little bit more accurate. But for the concept that I'm trying to share, like this is enough. Also exists on the other opposite. Doesn't mean that there are no idiots in the red group. It just means that there are less of them. So as you see here, because the blue people are more varied, the graph is shorter because the area under this curve has to sum to 1. So, like either you're going to do this so you keep the same area, or you're going to do this so you keep the same area. What this is basically saying is that on average, if you were to pick people randomly and you wanted to pick people at above a certain IQ, randomly, let's just say that this is 125 right here. Let's just, for argument's sake, this is 125. And you want to pick people at random with a 125 IQ, and you keep picking, on average, you will pick more people in the blue group than you will the red group. It's another way of looking at it. So imagine if you are someone who's smart and you understand that. You understand that you can target one segment of the population, which is already half. So you've already split people in half, but that's biological. You split people in half and you say, we're going to attack this half. Well, you know, this is like, well, there's less variability in IQ, so it should be easier to do. Also, if this half is more emotional in their thinking, it's easier to do because now you don't have to give like good arguments or logical arguments. You can just say something emotional and they'll go from there. And think about it. Who is the person or who are the people who tend to get attacked? And when I say attacked, I don't mean physically. I mean like when we're trying to exploit something. And I shouldn't even say we. I'm not in the group of people of exploiting people. But I'm going to say we for argument's sake. Let's say that we wanted to exploit a population. Well, why wouldn't I target the red group? It's easier. A lot easier. Less effort. Less danger. You know? When I say less danger, like I don't have to worry about them doing anything to me physically. Now, what I do have to worry about is if they are paired up with a person from this blue group. That's when I have to worry. So what if I did things to make sure that these people exist independently? So that, you know, these people in the red, they can be strong and independent. It would make it a lot easier for me to get my way, wouldn't it? You see, I grew up in a community of strong and independent people who don't need no blue group. And from what I can tell, they've done incredibly poorly. If we look at socioeconomic status and we were to plot that on a distribution graph, you want to pick people who are in the lowest socioeconomic status. If you were to pick randomly, you just select 100. 7 times out of, well, let's go 10, because 7 times out of 10, it's going to be someone who is strong, independent, don't need no man, who looks like me. It seems quite effective. It was very effective putting a lot of men out of the house. Well, how did you do that? Well, I just kind of mentioned it where you want those food stamps, don't you? You want that WIC, don't you? You can't have a man living in the house. You don't qualify. You need to earn under a certain amount so that then we'll do it. You break apart the family. The nuclear family is what built this country. And at one point in my history, the nuclear family was the thing that gave us our power. We would not have the rights that we have today if it were not for the nuclear family. You cannot have organization without a family. Just think about it now, like the people who are in these groups on the fringes of society, the lower fringes of society, they're not organized. They have no power. And if you want to challenge me on that, I would challenge you to tell me what have they done? Like they can't do anything. They have no power. The only power they have is to try to align themselves with other people who also have no power and hope that they are organized enough to actually affect change. But that hasn't been happening. It seems like most of the change is the opposite fringe. I'm going to say right. I don't mean right politically. I mean right on a distribution curve. assuming that, you start income at zero, not income, wealth at zero to wealth at infinity. The people who are closer to infinity are going to be on the right. The people who are closer to zero are going to be on the left. It seems to me that most of the laws that get drafted, which, by the way, did y'all know that you can actually go and check the status of bills? Did you know that? Or did you know you can actually read them? I know a lot of people don't like to read. I understand that. But you can actually read the bills that are being proposed in the House. You could also do this for the state. A lot of people don't do that. But if you actually take the time to read a lot of the laws that are being passed, you may find that they don't affect you in the way that you think. Well, I mean, obviously they affect you, but not in a positive way. There are things that help the rich, the capital owning, the elite. It helps them, not you. As someone who exists in the middle, I see both sides because I'm in the middle, but I'm also in the group that's getting squeezed. The middle class is shrinking. It won't be long if we don't get our act together that we'll be like most other countries that I've been to, where there are rich and there are poor. And there is a huge division between it. Like there is no middle. It's like you're rich or you're poor. We had an anomaly in this country for a while where we had a pretty sizable middle class. But it's important to understand the middle class has never really been more than 10%, 20% of the population ever. So here we are, 2026, and people are still finding ways to divide themselves. And it seems, well, it's not even seems, you just look. No one really has true convictions. When I was growing up, everybody was like, oh, the climate, all the polar bears, all the ice caps. Nobody's talking about that anymore. I find that interesting. The same people a couple of years ago who were shaming you for wanting to drive a gas car were the same people who were setting fires to electric vehicles, which or trying to destroy the value of the world's most valuable electric car company. I'm not saying that electric cars are more or better for the environment. That's not my argument. I'm just, the point is that that's what people believed. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, we don't care about the environment. We care about this now. It's just like, well, what do you care about? I'm someone that believes that if you care about something, you don't shift. The things I care about have not changed ever. The things that I don't care about probably won't change. I have a small set of things that I care about, and people call me weird and call me rigid because I care about the things I care about and nothing else. You can't really sway me off the things I care about. Not long ago, there were protests talking about no kings. Meanwhile, a literal monarchy owns the country, or whatever we can call it, a country, of Greenland. I'm not making an argument of whether or not America should get Greenland. I don't care. My point is that we have a group of people who are talking about no kings, and then we have a literal fucking king who owns Greenland. And then they're arguing for Greenland to stay with the king. It's just like, there's a cognitive dissonance there. We say no kings, but then we'll look to countries like the UK and say, oh yeah, we should have, they have the National Health Service. Like they don't have to, it's like, they literally have a monarchy. Or we'll have the same people, no kings, and then say, oh, I want to move to Thailand. Let's go to Thailand. Thailand has a king. Did you know that? You know that like a lot of countries have monarchies still. Or we'll say stuff like, oh, we don't want a dictator. And then when our our dictator goes and takes out another dictator. Now all of a sudden people are out in the streets protesting the fact that this dictator was removed. I'm just like, if you're gonna do something, at least be internally consistent. You know, like, I have no qualms against no dictators. I believe the same thing. Fuck dictators. We shouldn't have dictatorships. But you can't say that we shouldn't have a dictatorship and we shouldn't have dictators and then get upset when a dictator is deposed. It's just like, it makes no sense. To me, at least. Now, I understand that I don't have the mental acuity as my peers. No, I don't have it. So maybe that's why I don't understand it. But this is where we are. We have people finding things to divide themselves on without realizing that there are more things that unite us. For instance, I know this is going to go over a lot of people said, we live in the same country geographically. We live in the same place. That's pretty important. I know this might not seem like that big of a deal, but other places on Earth are very different. They have different problems. They have different, you know what? We're going to look at a map. I like looking at maps. No kings in USA. Even if that is, like, I heard no kings. I didn't hear no kings in USA. I saw no kings. Now, if you want to show me the signs that where they were saying no kings USA, show me. But the signs I was seeing was like no kings. And for what it's worth, you cannot have a king if you don't have a monarchy. No one has ever voted for a king. In the history books that I've read, and I've read quite a few, more than the average person, I'm willing to bet, I'm willing to put $100,000 on that. I am more informed on the history of civilizations than the majority of people in this nation. You cannot have a king. And this is not even history. This is just like government, like just understanding how the different forms of government operate. Like you can't elect a king. That's not how it works. A king comes from a monarchy, a royal family. They have their kingship or their queenship by birth. That's how it works. It's not, we're going to have some elections and then a bunch of people, less than half of the population, goes out and vote. That's not how it works. Like, we have a republic here. We don't have a monarchy. What was I going to go look up? I've already forgotten. Well, do you remember since you're here? I forgot what I said I was going to do. So I'm going to just move on. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I remember now. I said I was going to look at a map. Oh, shit. Let me pull this off. All right, let's open up a map right quick. I understand that a lot of people also don't know fucking geography. I sometimes I'm like, I hate that I have to share a planet with fucking idiots. Seriously. I can hate all I want because I'm surrounded by it. I'm in a minority and I'm just like, we live on the fucking earth and nobody wants to take the time to understand what's on earth, where things are. How, like, let's go to a continent, a continent. And this is another issue. I'm going to make a tangent. I hate when people in America call me African American. Why do I hate that? Well, it's because when you talk about these people from Europe, you'll call them French. You'll call them Spanish or Portuguese or British or German or Italian or like what are the other? Belgian, Hungarian, Greek. Like you will call them that. But for whatever reason, nobody gives the same respect to this continent, which for all intents and purposes, like has wealth that you can't even imagine. We all just get called Africans. Even if, especially in America, like most of the people who look like me are not from Africa, have never been to Africa. And even if they have been to Africa, they don't know where the fuck in Africa they come from for reasons. So it's like, that's my little tangent. But anyway, Let's take a look at Africa, for instance. And I was trying to make this point to someone, and I can tell they've never looked at a globe. I grew up looking at, like, I had a bunch of globes and such shit when I was growing up, and I had an encyclopedia set, the Britannica, and I would read that shit for fun. But one of the interesting things about Africa, and I think you will understand it, is when I say it, is that out of all of the continents where humans exist, Africa is the only continent that doesn't have a natural harbor. Well, it does. It only has a few. Or in other words, it has the smoothest, what do you call it? I'm gonna call it a boundary. Like, if you like, it has the smoothest boundary between land and sea out of any continent where humans live. Why is that important? This is what I mean. Like, people don't know geography, so they can't even like reason about why certain things are the way they are. Let's get into this natural harbor thing that I'm getting at, or the smooth coastline. That's the word, coastline. Africa has the smoothest coastline out of any continent where humans live. All right. Maybe, why is that relevant? Well, the thing that makes a nation rich or wealthy are things like the things that they can produce and the things they can get for the things that they produce, or the things that they can import. Trade is what I'm trying to get at. Trade is what makes nations wealthier. Well, if you want to trade with the world's nations, the best way to do it, or the cheapest way to do it, the most economical way to do it, is to do it by sea, by the oceans. Okay. You may be like, yeah, of course, I knew that. Well, here's the problem with Africa. It's a big ass continent. And let's say, for instance, you live in, I don't know, let's say you live in Rwanda, Uganda, this region here. And you want to trade with your fellow Cameroonians, which are way the fuck over here. Okay. How are you going to do that? Are you going to go through the jungle? There are not many roads. That's very expensive. Are you which river are you going to take that gets you from here to here? Oh, there are no rivers that get you from here to here. So you're only left with taking this coastline here. But the problem with having a smooth coastline is we have these things called tides. I don't know if you heard of them. Currents. Like, no, water moves, believe it or not. If you don't have a natural harbor, aka a place where the currents aren't having their way with you, how are you going to have a ship big enough to come over? Like, you just can't do it. These coastlines are very smooth. You can't get the ship close enough to the land. How you going to get the shit that you want to trade to the ship? Huh? You thinking about it? There are only a few places in Africa that have natural harbors. I'll give you one of them, the most important one. Here, there is a reason why the Dutch went to South Africa like this, because, they used to trade their shit. They wanted to get their tea and all that stuff from India. And, the Silk Road and all this is kind of long, it's land. And these European countries, like, take a look at these coastlines. Look at how jagged they are. They have lots of natural harbors. So it makes sense why they would develop naval powers. They're next to the ocean. A lot of these are like literally like especially Britain, like they're ocean-faring societies. If Britain wanted to trade with France, well, you got this water that you got to go through. Whereas down here, well, you don't really have a place to put ships, so naturally you're not going to build big ass ships. Just a thought. I believe it's, have you tried to date higher IQ individuals in the red group? No, I don't date. I don't believe in dating. Dating is a so for what it's worth. When I was in high school, I was enrolled in the local college here in Houston. And some of the courses that I took, these were like for fun courses for me. I took a sociology course. I think I was in 10th grade through the college. And I learned a lot of interesting things. Dating is a form of entertainment. It's a modern, it's modern. It's something that didn't really exist before the 1920s. In reality, it didn't really exist until post World War II. But I'm gonna give some grace, plus minus 20 some years. So 1920s, it didn't really exist. It's a modern thing, and I am of the mindset that if you're being entertained, you're not like that's the wrong thing. Like that's no, like you should find a person who you want to have children with. That's it. I don't believe in this bullshit of I'm gonna go date. That's for regular people. I'm not interested in that. So no, I've not tried to date people who have my IQ. And to be honest, I don't care if a female has a high IQ or a low IQ. That's not something I value in a female. I'm just keeping it 100. Now I know a lot of females, they want to be valued on the same things that men are valued for. The problem is that I'm actually a real man. I'm not someone who's just going to cater to what they want. I don't give a shit what they want. It doesn't matter to me. The reason why is because I have the power, not them. The only power they have is what I allow them to have. That's how this works. That's how it's always worked. And I know it's going to offend some people because they think that that's not how things are, but that's how things are, and that's how they will be. At the end of the day, power is enforced through violence. Look at nature. They always like to say, oh, in the animal kingdom, there's no monogamy. Well, also in the animal kingdom, the weak do not overrule, or they don't rule over the strong. That's not how it works. There's hierarchy in everything in life. And when I say in life, I mean like including things that are not even alive. There's hierarchy. You have an atom, and within the atom, you have electron, you have proton, you have neutron. But within those, you have further decomposition. So it's all hierarchy. So I don't value IQ in a female partner. That's irrelevant to me. I don't think them having a higher IQ is going to make them a better mother. I don't think that a higher IQ is going to make them be able to prepare meals for me that taste better than someone who has a lower IQ. I don't think that's how. I don't think that it's going to keep the house cleaner. Or I just don't. I haven't seen evidence that IQ correlates to any improvement on things that I value. So if I were to date, I wouldn't care if they were smart or dumb. Like the first person who I've only been in. Well, I'm only gonna count two. Like my first from 18 to, or no, I was 17, I think. Or was I 16? 17. Yeah. My first relationship was like 17 to 22. And like, I was like, my mindset was marriage, kids before 30 for me. Like I wanted to have my kids like 24, 25. That was my plan. It didn't work out. Second person, that was from like 20, 23, 22, 20. Yeah, 23 to 28. And again, it was the same mindset where it was like, this is a person, I'm just going to marry her and like have kids or something. That was my mindset. I wasn't worried about IQ. Now, the reason why I bring it up is that between the two that I've been with, the relationships that I've been with, one person is actually stupid. Like literally, she's not very bright. I would say her IQ is probably under 100. Did I care? Not really. She would say a lot of dumb shit. I was like, oh, whatever. I don't know. It's whatever. Like we don't both have to be smart. That's how I am. It's just like I think that's the point of a relationship. We are different. We should complement one another. I don't need you to be good at what I'm good at. And I don't think that I need to be good at what you're good at. I think that's the point. I want someone who is as different from me as possible. Why the hell would I want someone who's just like me? Why would I need them? Like, the fuck? I have myself. I don't need another me. And why would I want an inferior version of me? Like, let's just be real. Like, let's say that I have someone who's like me. Well, shit, they would be an inferior version of me because the way that female selection works across the entire animal kingdom is they select someone or something that is better than them. That's how it works. You will never find a female saying, I'm going to go marry someone beneath me. They always look up. So that means that if they're looking up, by definition, they are inferior to the person they are looking up to. Why the fuck would I want an inferior version of me? That makes no sense. So no, to answer your question. But that's also because I don't date. You know, I've had like the 2 relationships I've had. And then after that one ended, I was just like, fuck it. I'm good. Back to my point though, about geography and why this shit matters. And if you actually go abroad, you might learn some things about why the world is the way it is. Here in America, we are blessed geographically. What you'll notice with most other countries on the planet Earth is that they are bordered or surrounded by other countries, other nations. Nations tend to have different groups of people, and they don't generally agree on how life should be lived, just like here in America. The difference is that each of these states generally will inflict violence upon one another because there is no higher authority that governs them. Because in reality, and I know a lot of people don't like this, when you don't have hierarchy, you have anarchy. And the anarchy. There is no hierarchy, kind of like atheist. You have no, like, that's A means it's not, no, like that's what it means. So anarchy means there is no hierarchy. That is the world. That's actually how the world works. All nations are in an anarchical relationship with one another, kinda. And what you get with that is you get big eat small, which is how it exists in the animal kingdom. Just here, it's the same here. The only hierarchy that we have is imposed at the point of a gun. Whoever has the most guns, whoever can produce the most violence, whoever's willing to use that violence, that's the group of people that enforces a hierarchy. It may not be a strong hierarchy. It could just be like them and then everyone else is beneath them. Or it could be more like what America has set up, which is like a hierarchy. And then there are different levels within that hierarchy. But in reality, most countries are in anarchy with one another. Meaning that the way they settle things is, well, big equals small, right? So violence. Notice that America, we don't really have any of that to worry about. We have 2 big ass oceans. First, we have the largest ocean on planet Earth, also the deepest. And then we also have this other ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, which is one of the roughest oceans. Like, it has the most just crazy. It's because of the Gulf Stream, by the way, in case you don't know that. Like, the Gulf Stream is all this cold water from down here. It comes up and it goes all along the coast, bringing this current and warm water, and that actually creates our whole weather pattern over here. All right, we have these 2 magnificent oceans that separate us from most countries on planet Earth. And our 2 neighboring countries, Canada, above us, is mostly empty. It's also very cold, but it's mostly empty. And the one beneath us, Mexico, well, it has more people than Canada, but it's not very powerful in relation to this. So, like, we don't really have any true competition around us that we have to worry about that distracts us. So we get a level of prosperity just from our geography, just where we exist on Earth. Also, notice that we exist between the Tropic of Cancer, or above the equator, but we're between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle, meaning that our weather is fairly temperate. Why is that important? Well, it turns out that a lot of food doesn't like to grow in cold ass weather. It also turns out that because the Earth is at an angle, I think it's like 23, 28, one of those, at an angle, it means that certain portions of the Earth get more sunlight than other portions of the Earth. The more north you go, the less sunlight you get for certain times of the year. Like it'll be dark for 6 months out of the year, or it'll be sunlight for 6 months out of the year, but it's always cold. Turns out that plants, I don't know if you knew this, plants, they like sunlight. That's I know. They like sunlight. They like to use that. That's how they grow food for us to eat. You cannot have a powerful nation without food to eat. You need to be able to feed yourself. And look at this. We're one of the few countries on the planet Earth that has the capability to feed our population without depending on any other nation on Earth. That's not the case for a lot of countries. Now, it is the case for a lot of countries, like for some countries like Peru, they can feed themselves, but they also have a small population. But yeah, the fact that we're in this temperate zone, this area where the weather is not drastic. It doesn't, yes, it gets cold in America, but like it doesn't get that cold. And yes, it gets hot in America, but it doesn't get that hot. And when it does, it's spread across the year. We have seasons. That's what I'm trying to get at. Turns out that a lot of countries don't get that benefit, Just now you may be like, oh, well, look, there's India. And yes, India is blessed in some ways too, but they also have other issues that they got to worry about. They are bordered by other nations, and some of those nations are their enemy. Here, the big one right here. If you don't know what country this is China, just in case y'all don't know geography. This is India. And they beefing. They not really, it's not like they love one another. They also have another country, which, to be fair, countries are, I think, in my opinion, they're more of a Western concept, because it seems that Europeans, like, they love to group themselves off and fight amongst themselves. And they like to take that shit and export it to other countries. So they went to India and because of the different religion and all that kind of shit, like they decided to split the country, and one of them became Pakistan, one of them remained India. And India and Pakistan don't really, maybe you don't, but they're not really the best of friends. They did the same thing over here in the Middle East, for what it's worth. Some of these countries were created within the past century by European men, British men specifically. I wish more people would understand that we have a lot more in common than we have differences, because look at us. Like, look at us. We are not surrounded by anything. Just that alone, we have that in common. We are a group of people who exist effectively in our own universe. I understand Mexico and Canada exist, but let's just be real. For the most part, we exist in our own little universe. We have everything that we need. If all international trade were to stop over the water, over the sea, America, and when I say America, I mean like America, like North America, we will be fine. We have water. Fresh water is what I mean. We have the oceans, which means we have fish. We have wood, which means we can build shit. We have timber, all that. We have minerals. We have all of the rare earths, like literally everything we need. We have it here. We have energy, whether that be from oil. We have a lot of that. whether it be from sunlight because we're in a part of the earth that actually gets sunlight. We have wind. We have all kinds of things. That's not the case for other countries. Like let's go to the country that, for whatever reason, our leading class, our elites, they're trying to get us to hate China and look at them as our enemy. In reality, China's not our enemy. They can't be. They don't have the geography to be our enemy. They are not. I mean, yes, they have a coastline, but they only have a coastline on their east coast. The rest of it is desert. Here's the rest of their border. It's desert. There's nothing there. No, they have a water security issue. Like they have the Yangtze River, but beyond that, like they have to use dams in order to kind of get water to where it needs to be, and that's not that effective. It also pisses off their neighbors. Oh yeah, by the way, they have neighbors, a lot of them. Turns out that makes it hard to actually be a true competitor on the world stage. The only other empire that was as large as, or maybe even larger than America's, was Britain. And like, let's look at Britain. Let's look at what makes them special, or United Kingdom. They're a fucking island. Yes, they exist next to here, but like for the most part, they have natural borders. When I say a natural border, I mean like an ocean or a river or something like that. Like America, we have this giant ass natural border. If you want to come fuck with America, good luck. You get to sail across one of the most violent oceans on earth. If you want to do it from Europe or from Africa, or if you want to come over from China, well, shit, now you got to go through the Pacific Ocean. And God, man, it's a big ass ocean. It's hard to articulate how big it is. I didn't really understand how big it was until I've had to fly over it a few times. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's the only ocean where we're flying at close to the speed of sound, and it takes damn near 18 hours to fly across it. I don't know why I say across. It takes damn near 18 hours to fly across the Pacific Ocean. It's where you can, I'm not going to take an edible or something like that. You in San Francisco, I'm assuming I'm saying you, I mean me. You're in San Francisco, you go get you some edible or something because you hate flying. You take your edible as soon as boarding happens. You're up, for maybe like 4 or 5 hours. You fall asleep hoping that, you'll wake up in 8 hours and be there. You wake up in 8 hours and you wake up and you see you still have 5 fucking hours to go. That's what the Pacific Ocean is huge. It only takes 6 hours to fly across the Atlantic Ocean, just FYI. So yeah, imagine you have to sail across this. And oh, by the way, there are these things called typhoons, I don't know if you know that. They exist. You got to deal with that. But let's say that China, they want to come here. Well, shit. Turns out that all of this water right here is not very deep. Maybe like 300, 400 feet. Sounds like it's deep, but it's not. In relation to places like this, where it's like this is going down depths of like 20,000 feet, 30,000 feet, 35,000 feet. Like imagine you're flying in the air. Typically you're flying around 35,000 feet, close to 38, 39 if you're over the Pacific. Imagine you're that far beneath the surface of the water. It's equivalent. So they got to deal with that, but they also have all of these things that they got to get through. All of these competing nations. Japan, I don't think they're really that big of a fan of them. Korea, Taiwan, Philippines, they got a lot of things they got to get through if they really want it to be our enemy. They're not our enemy. Russia. I think the issue is Russia. And when I say the issue, I mean like the reason why it's feared is because they have an abundance of natural resources. I would say Russia, the nation, the country, is probably the wealthiest nation on earth by means of like natural resources. They have everything. And there are only like 150 million people on the country. They have everything. I mean, they had everything until USSR failed. This is also the issue with Ukraine. Turns out, if you look at it, Ukraine is in a very ideal spot. Look at how green it is. That's fertility, earth fertility. A lot of food. There's a lot of food grown in Ukraine. I cannot. It's almost like our breadbasket. So our breadbasket here in America is this region here, where most of our food is grown. Ukraine is literally the same thing. It feeds. Honestly, most of the countries in Africa would starve if it weren't for Ukraine. For what it's worth, there was a lot of trade between the Russians, USSR, Soviet Union, and the African nations. It still is. When you go to Africa, you'll find more Russians. I've interacted with a lot of Russians. I've used to work with Russians. I'm actually friends. One of my good friends is Russian. When you actually go across the earth, you'll start to realize that in all of these countries that America and Europe, the collective West, they like to exploit, Russia is there too, but they're not really exploitive in the same way. And they don't have the same animosity. And I would encourage anyone who hasn't been to Russia to go to Russia. You may be surprised. Hell, just go anywhere outside of our region. In my opinion, if you've only gone to Mexico, you've never really left the country. I mean, sure, Mexico is a different country, but let's be real. It's North America. For the most part, it's very culturally similar to us, just like Canada. Well, I know there are differences. I understand that, but when you actually go somewhere that's truly different, you'll understand what I mean. They use the same alphabet. Their romantic languages, just like ours. Well, technically English isn't romantic, but French, Spanish, those types of languages. There's a lot of cross between our cultures. Well, the reason why is because there's a lot of cross because of here. Look at that. Turns out that Spain isn't very far from the United Kingdom or France. And as you know, hopefully, from school, Canada, there was British and French. You have the British part, you have the French part, now it's just Canada, except for British Columbia, that part. Also, Portugal is not far from these regions either, obviously. Oh, and this should also be an indicator why the music and the food between all of South America and we'll just call it Latin America, why it's so similar to what you find in Africa, but you have to actually go to Africa to realize that most of the music that you hear, like reggaeton and all the stuff that's coming from South America, it's literally just music that came from here, because it's the same slaves, that they brought over from Africa. Well, not the same slaves, but all of them engaged in the slave trade. And I'm not saying that they are the nations who perpetrated it. I'm not going to get into that. It's actually not them, but slaves came from here to here, and some of them ended up in the United States. There was no United States at the time, but they ended up in what's currently the United States. Some of them ended up in Cuba. Some of them ended up in Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Haiti, all across South America, like Venezuela and Brazil. Turns out all of the places where these African slaves landed, they did not lose all of their culture. It's only in America where most of that was buck broken out of them. But we still retain some of it. But if you go to any of these other places, for instance, Jamaica, in my opinion, is the most African place you can go to in this hemisphere. It is so similar. It is incredible how similar, because they didn't lose their culture. It's insane. If you want to get a sneak peek at what Africa is like, go to Jamaica. Obviously, it's different because of reasons, but just trying to get the point across that it's a lot closer to what you would experience in West Africa, specifically Oh guys, why is it doing that? Specifically, this region right here, like Ghana and Nigeria and Cameroon, also up in here as well. Now I met a Guyanese, a Guyanan. I think that's what they. I don't know if they call themselves Guyanan. Maybe I met a Guyanan in Phoenix, and I wanted to go there. In a past life, my dream was to travel around the world with my significant other and go and eat and experience the culture in all these places. Now, I guess I did end up doing that regardless, but it's different. I went alone, but I didn't. I haven't been to Guyana yet. I wanted to go to Trinidad and Tobago. I'm sorry. Yeah, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada. I think is how they say it. Um, I haven't really explored South America as much as I maybe should, but that's mostly because I don't really like the cuisine. Like, it's only a few places in South America where I like the food. Guyana is one of them. Peru is the other. I don't really feel the other. I'm not really into Brazilian food. Or all these, they're like all this region has the same type of food. So it's like Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, like beans and rice, some plantain. It's honestly, it's almost like what you have in Africa, except without the beans. Anyway, my point being is that we have a lot more in common than we have not in common. At least that's what I thought. But I'm starting to learn that people care more about our differences. I can't just be American. I have to be a black American. I can't just be a black American. I have to be uh, like rich or poor. I can't just be like, or I can't just be an American. I have to be a rich or poor American. I can't just be an American. I have to be a Texan, which I do accept my Texanness. I have to be from the South. I can't just be American. Like North. Oh, you're from the South. You don't know anybody. It's like okay. I actually had someone tell me, he's like, are you oppressed? I'm like, no. Are you sure? The fuck you mean? Am I sure? Like, do I look like somebody that can be oppressed? You have to have a victim mindset to be oppressed, or you have to be weak to allow it. There's always a choice. Some people choose to live oppressed. Some people choose to die free. All this is from what I said earlier. Divide and conquer. It's the most powerful technique. And the reason why I keep saying divide and conquer is because it's two phases. You gotta understand why you're doing the division. It's to conquer. America seems to be falling from within. No other country can do it. They don't have the power to do it. They don't have the wealth to do it. So the only other way that you can do it is to get the people within the nation to do it for you. And they're doing it. And now that we have this feminized culture where for whatever reason we've allowed women to get into leadership positions, well, here we are. Once this country is destroyed, which it will be, like, and I'm not saying because of what was, I mean, obviously it's because of now, but like everything has a life cycle. Everything on earth. There's nothing that lasts forever, including this country. So when this country eventually meets its ultimate demise. My question is, are the people who live here, do they have such a distorted view of reality that they think that if the state goes, that somehow their life is going to improve? Envy works both ways. There are a lot of people within this country who are envious of other people. Let's just use the rich and poor divide. A lot of poor people are envious and or jealous of the rich people. Hold that thought. America is the richest nation on planet Earth. Even if you're poor here, you are rich relative to most other places on Earth. Most other people on the planet look at Americans as rich. They are envious and jealous of you. I see people here saying, eat the rich, which is another way of saying the rich. Why do you all think that you're the only person that has that mindset? Maybe, just maybe, you should understand that you are rich in the eyes of other people. And they may be looking at you the same way because, let's be real, the American empire, which is what it is, it extracts wealth. The reason why people here are able to live the life of comfort that they have is, well, we extract wealth from other places. There are not infinite resources, despite what a lot of people will lead you to believe. We have one earth, and that's it. We have finite resources. Politics is about deciding who gets what. Turns out, because of our power, we've been able to get more than other people. We have more at the expense of others. What I'm trying to get at is that it's a zero-sum game. It's a zero-sum game. There's only so much fresh water. Well, I mean, potable fresh water, let's say that. There's only so much land that food can be grown on. There's only so much oil. There's only so much gold. There's finite resources. If we have a disproportionate share, the implication is that all of the rest of the earth has less disproportionately. Yet, for whatever reason, we have people in this nation who believe that we can become more prosperous by allowing those who do not share our values, our culture, or our expertise or skill set to just come without going through some type of process. Not understanding that that's how you destroy a nation. And the only thing that binds a nation are their common values and beliefs. When you get too many differing and competing values and beliefs, you no longer have a nation. And remember, divide and conquer. The flip side of that is united we stand, but divided we fall. We're being divided. And as a result, we are falling. And I don't think that it's recoverable because the birth rate of just regular Americans, when I say regular Americans, I mean like actual Americans, people who have existed here for generations. Like they can trace their family tree in like 3, 4, 5, 10, 12, 15 generations. We got people coming and They bring their cultures with them, their tribalistic attitudes, and that's something that separated America for the most part. Is that we don't have the tribalism. That is, I like. You may disagree with this, but I think that there's a silver lining in everything. For Black people, we retained some of our culture from wherever the fuck we came from in West Africa. I don't know where. I have no idea where. But there are certain things that were kind of taken out. And I think it was a matter of survival because let's be real, all the different slaves who came here across the 50 to 70 years, or maybe 100 years of the slave trade, they were not all from the same. In fact, nations didn't really exist in Africa. Like that's a very Western mindset. All of these people were not of the same tribe or ethnicity. They were different people. In fact, they may not have even liked each other. But they were all put on the same boat and they were all treated equally. They were all labeled Black. They all had to they were all worked on the fields together. They so effectively the natural tribalism that was inherent in the cultures, that shit got removed for the most part. We replaced the tribe with where are you from, your location. And that's just an old vestige of what plantation did you come from? Like it's just, where are you from? Have you noticed that a lot of Black people, we tend to ask, where are you from? I wonder if you noticed that. I noticed it because I exist within multiple subcultures. Now, I exist in one subculture where it's not where are you from, is what do you do? But then I also came from another subculture that asks, where are you from? And that tends to tell you about a lot. Or it tends to tell you a lot about the person. And honestly, I still do that to this day. I get upset. I'm just like, why does it matter what I do? It's like, where I ask where people are from. I don't really give a fuck what you do. I want to know, where are you from? We don't really have the tribalistic attitude, which is both a gift and a curse, I think. You know? Because again, divided you fall. It's just one less abstraction level of community. No, even though I think tribalism is not great, I have to be honest, intellectually at least, and say that it does give you power because it's a uniting factor, right? It's something where it's like we are this, and you share beliefs, you share value system, you share culture, language, all types of things. So you have more power as a result. So it's kind of like the flip side. So maybe I'll convince myself that Americans need to become more tribal, but they need to maybe think at a larger level that your tribe is Americans. You know, folks who I think, or at least I hope, all believe that all men should be created, but should be treated equally under the law. And I say men, I'm not just saying men. I'm just like men and women. They want an equality. They should get it. Like we should all suffer the same consequences, the same level of consequences. You know, I believe that what I was born into in this country is something that should not be taken for granted. The fact that I can do what I'm doing now, I am talking shit on a camera, live on the internet, and I'm not worried about my electricity going out. The fact that I can do it, I'm streaming in 4K right now. Yeah, let that sing. I'm streaming in 4K right now. So all of these things, like I live in a nation where other nations want to do trade with us. And because of that, a nation like Japan, which created the camera and the lens that I'm speaking through, they did trade with America. So I was able to buy this camera that's able to shoot in 4K. And I was able to buy this camera that's able to shoot in 4K because I've been afforded the opportunity to make damn near $250,000 a year for the past 15 years. I have one, like my internet is 2 gigabits per second with like stupidly low latency. I understand that not everywhere on earth has that. I've lived in countries where you're lucky if you get 3 megabits per second and it's not that consistent and there's a shit ton of latency and it just goes out randomly. Or I've lived in other countries where lights, the electricity just goes out so much so that it's just normal. I remember the first time I went to Nigeria. I went to my hotel and that was oh my gosh, that was an experience. I'm in like what's considered one of the richest parts of Lagos. And wow, you understand the difference between a poor and a rich nation. Anyway, I'm in my hotel and they have an elevator. It's only like 4 levels, but I'm gonna take the elevator because I have luggage. I get in the elevator and I push the button, and then all of a sudden it just stops, and I'm just there for a minute or two. There are other people in the elevator with me, and they just carrying on as if nothing's going on. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, electricity's out. It's like, I this is where I realized it's a privilege to live here. It's just like no one here ever thinks about the fact that electricity doesn't have to be constant. Electricity is something that's produced. It's literally the only resource that we have that's produced at the time it's needed. And when you flip your light switch, chances are you're not going to think, oh, the lights have a probability of not turning on. It's baked in so much that electricity will just be here, that we have these smart devices where you can just say something with your mouth and you expect it to do something. If we can't agree that we at least have that in common, and maybe we should work together to ensure that that remains a thing that we can take for granted, then man, we've lost the plot. Maybe the country deserves a fella if we have people who take this kind of shit for granted to that degree. It's shameful in a way, where we exist in a place where we don't have to worry about food. We have food security. So much so that, and I'm guilty of this, that like we just assume that we can go to a grocery store to get food. I'm just curious, how many of you have ever had to go into a yard and plant some food and wait the 6 to 9 months for it to grow just so that you can eat? Or do you just go to a store? And if you just go to a store, how do you get to that store? Do you just assume that you have roads that can get you from your house to that store? Do you assume that you have transportation, whether that be a bus, a train, a car, or anything? Do you just assume that you just have a mode of transportation to go to that store? Do you assume that you have a basket that you can push through that store and you can just load up shit? I've been to places where it don't work that way. It does not work that way in everywhere. All these things we take for granted. Yeah, for whatever reason, We want to look at the things that divide us and not the things that unite us. And let me be real, there are more things that we have in common than things that we don't have in common. And this also, just like I said earlier, this goes up to the rest of the planet too. You may find that you have a lot of things in common with people in Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan or Kyrgyzstan or Latvia or Peru. They all eat just like you. They all drink water and they have their alcohol just like you. They all take shits. It stink just like yours. Generally, they're not socially or not socially. They're not. They're not socially suicidal. So they generally want to have children. I guess that's the one. It's the one thing that, for whatever reason, half of our population has been psyops into thinking that their value comes from their economic output and not from doing the things that men can't do. That's how I think. Like, the value to me is you can do the one thing I can't do. Yeah, Bosnia too. Like, all these places are, all the people in all these places, they're just like you and I. And if people from around the world are just like you and I, then it would make sense and understand the reason that the people who live in the same fucking country as you have more in common than the people you don't live in the same country with. Yet for whatever reason, we look for things to divide ourselves by. Even for stupid shit. And I've never understood it. Like, I got a new MPC and I'm looking at some of the discourse online, and there are people who are just I'm just disgusting. They're just hateful. Just someone is talking about an NPC and then they got to hate. Oh, it's like, I'll do this in the DAW, Ableton, a Logic, a Pro Tool. It's just like, who gives a shit? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, why is that the thing that you're arguing about instead of the overarching thing that unites us, which is we love music or audio or mixing or sound design, like, or creating? Like, why is it you want to split yourself into these different groups? Case in point, I've used a Mac my entire life. And I've never once thought about people who use, I don't give a shit about people who use Windows or Linux. I was like, use whatever computer you want. But when you look online, you have people, oh, the Mac people are this, or all these PC users are this, or iPhone users are this, or Android users are this. It's just like, how retarded are y'all? Where you have to find something as stupid as what phone you use to divide yourselves. Or you want to like look at a group of people and lump them into a boat and talk shit about them because they made a purchase or something. It happens in cameras too. I have these Sony cameras, and you look at some of the discourse online around cameras, you got people talking shit about people who own Sony cameras, people who talk shit about people who own Panasonic or Canon. It's just like, why does it matter? There are only two companies that make all the sensors, but at the end of the day, it's like, why not look at the thing that unites? It's like, you have a camera because you like photography, yes, or you like to make videos or like videography and all that. That's why you have a camera, yes. So why are we talking about what brand of camera you have? Why does it fucking matter? I see that in everything, like with the NPCs. Like I have this NPC here, and people are like, oh, I have NPC Live. I have NPC. It's just like, who gives a shit? You have a piece of hardware that you can make your music on. I thought that's what we were here for, was like music, the creation. But no, we gotta like figure out ways to divide ourselves. Hell, even when I was in college, something as stupid as that one book, the Twilight series. Y'all remember the Twilight books? There was Team Edward and some, I don't remember the other one. But like everybody's just like, just look for every possible way to divide themselves. Even in school, like in college, People are, I don't know, I go to this school, I go to that school. It's like, who gives a fuck what school you went to? Doesn't matter. At least that's how I've been. I don't care what school you've gone to. I've gone to a few schools and like sure, there are great people and not great people everywhere I've gone. And what I've noticed is that it has nothing to do with the thing, but everything to do with those individuals. At what point do we get in this country where people realize that these artificial divisions are literally low IQ? Oh, I have another example of the types of stupid ways people like to divide themselves. I'm in tech, so like programming languages. There are people who talk shit about people who program in JavaScript. There are people who talk shit about people who program in Perl or Python. There are people who talk shit about what database you use. It's like, oh, why would you use MySQL as Postgres and Postgres and MariaDB? It's just like they all saw the same problem, bro. It's a place for you to put your data so that you can search and sort it and collate it and aggregate it and analyze it. It's like they all do the same shit, bro. What CMS are you using? Some people use WordPress, Drupal, is it Drupal? Drupal, whatever the fuck it is. There are all kinds of them. But even then, within that space, people are hating on each other. Oh, you use this, or you're just dumb. It's just like, really? This is what y'all want to argue over? It's something that simple. And mind you, I'm bringing these up because in general, like in these fields, especially within the tech field, it does tend to skew toward like on the right on the IQ curve, right? So like you're not really going to have average people that are generally above average or higher, but they're susceptible to the same shit. It's not really a IQ thing. It seems that no matter where people exist, they love to separate themselves into smaller groups. And then they use that identity, that group as their identity, which I've never understood. It's like, why the fuck do you want to identify yourself with a group? How weak-minded are you? I've always shied away from groups if possible. I mean, I've been a part of certain groups, but it's because of the thing, the actual action, not the group. For instance, I was on that's another one. The Chevy versus Ford, or the Mustang versus Camaro. The it's just like, does it matter? Really? Does it matter? Hell, we can go to the bikes too. Like there are people who talk shit about people who own Suzuki's or what do you call it? The GSXRs or whatever. I don't know what they're called. People who talk shit about who talk down to them and or like people who own Hondas, they'll be like, oh, your Hondas, or people who have Ducatis. It's like I thought we all just like being on two wheels. I thought that's what it was, but for whatever reason, no. We gotta like separate ourselves into groups and generalize these other people who ride different types of bikes, which I've never understood because I've had all these brands of bikes. Well, not really. I've had a Honda, a Kawasaki, and lately just the Ducatis. But never once in my life have I been like, oh yeah, this person is this kind of person because he drives a Yamaha. It's like, who gives a fuck? Like, the Yamaha is nice. Why? Obviously, it's a good bike. They sell fucking tens of thousands of them a year. Like, I don't understand. And even if they didn't, it's like they're on two wheels. I thought that's what we like, right? To ride our bikes. Same with the Chevy Corvette or Chevy Ford thing. It's like for car people, I thought you were a car person. I thought we were in this because we love cars, the machines, the design, the feeling you get when you're driving on the open road, the freedom. I thought that's what the thing was. It's like nah. It's like, oh, you drive a Ford, so I don't know what people say about Ford people or Chevy people. It's my opinion that people who put a group label ahead of everything, it's because they're low status. That's now my belief. They have no status of their own, so they have to align themselves with groups to confer status because they themselves have none. It's like people who wear a bunch of name brand shit. And I'm not I mean, like who like presenting and flaunting like, oh, I have this. It's like, okay. I generally hate, you'll find this out about me if you met me in real life, but like, I generally don't wear things that have a brand on it. I try not to. I do have some things that have a brand on it, but it's like very low key. Like, I mean, this right here, chances are, unless you don't know what brand of shirt I'm wearing. And I like it like that. I don't need to know what brand of shirt I'm wearing. Honestly, a lot of my shirts are free. So if I'm ever wearing anything that has any type of thing on it, it's because it was free. It was given to me. I'm like, why the fuck would I pay for a shirt? I hate paying for clothes. I think I'm one of them. I wear conference shirts, bro. Like shirts that people give me. If I went like the school shirts, they give me free shirts. I still have my shirts that I got from free in 2007. I still wear them because they were free and they still fit. Fortunately, they still fit. I think my oldest shirt is from that I still have. I got rid of my high school shirts from like engineering and the Bay team and the engineering club. Maybe I already said that. I was in the computer science club too. So I don't have those shirts anymore, but it's because I don't fit in them. I actually grew, so I didn't stop growing until I think I was sophomore year in college. So I think when I went to college, I was 6'1" when I first went to college, and by the time I was, I think junior year, I had grown to 6'4". So I was like, I was still growing, so I don't fit anything from high school, but I still have my shirt from basketball from college, as well as my computer science shirts that I would get for being in computer science at Trinity. I'm more likely to wear that than I am to go and buy some. The only brands I know that like the big ones these days, because I don't really pay attention, like Louis Vuitton, I know them. DKNY, is that a brand? Or Express? I know of Express. Forever 21, I think that, yeah, if they still exist. I know like those types of things. I don't really care about brands, especially for clothes, because they don't really do anything. Now, I will admit that I do have like these pants that I'm wearing. They are brand, but it's more so to do with the fact that the creative director who died, uh, you know, he was someone who like broke a barrier. So I decided to buy some of his collection when I was in South Korea. It's like, that's the thing. If I'm in a certain country and they have a special edition of something, I'll pick it up. But I won't show the brand, but I'll show them off. So you can see what they're looking like. Oh wait, yeah. Just some regular black pants, sweatpants. I'm sure there will be people who want to judge me for like, oh, you wear that. It's like, yes, I wear clothes so that I'm not naked or cold. Yes, you're right. I put on clothes. You know? Believe it or not, I put on shoes too sometimes. But I do have a brand of shoes that I like. I'm gonna show them to y'all. It's called. I would recommend them to some people, not everyone, but to some people. Y'all can see the shoes that I'll be rocking. Let me go to the ones that I actually have. Oh wait, they got a new one. Oh, that's repair. Like maybe I had to pick up a new pair. I have these right here, not the women's version, but the men's version. And then I also have. They've changed their site. I hate this site. I hate these big sites that take up my whole screen. With a video, it's just confusing. Why do they do this? All right, bro. I don't care about all these dumbass pictures. Just show where are the okay. I give up. I give up. But I have those. These are the shoes that I generally wear. I have a few pair of those. I have my flip flops that I got from the Croc outlet store. So I know about them Croc flip flops. I have my other Crocs, the like the regular Crocs. I have some outdoor ones and I have my indoor ones. Then I have my ones for the spa. Yeah, that's what I'm. I wear basically the same shit every day. Like what I'm wearing now is this is my uniform essentially. I just have a bunch of this. So to normal people, oh, you wear the same thing every day. You like, are you damn right? You know, I have the same shit. So I need to put on clothes. I'm not making decisions on what clothes to wear. That's silly. I'll show you the other shoes that I have. And normally I normally get a pair every like every year, but I haven't lately because I haven't been traveling as much. So yes, Casual, yes, they are Adidas. But it's not because they're Adidas, it's because they're fucking comfortable and they're functional as fuck. What are they called? Terex. They're trail runner shoes. I can find them. Yeah, I think these are it. No, those aren't it. Man, this is confusing. How come this is a lot more? This is more than it used to be. What is all this shit? Men, go away. Nope. Category, shoes, product type. Oh wait, activity. Outdoor. Still a lot. Okay, I don't see them. Oh wait, here they are. Yeah, these. Yeah, these are my shoes. I have. Well, I don't know. I have a few of these. Same color, and it's every year. This is what I get. So this looks like a newer version than mine. It looks like it has some type of woven shit, which I'm not sure I would like. But I like these because they're waterproof. They're comfortable. They have like a wide toe box. And they're low key. Like when I'm wearing them, nobody knows what they are. You can't really see it. It's just like, oh, just some normal black shoes, which is what I love. Like, I love that shit. But yeah, if you want a shoe recommendation, this is my shoe recommendation. I love these. Like I've had, goddamn, like 4 or 5 pair of these. I have some white ones too, but I don't really wear them that often. I only wear them with jeans if I have like a light color shirt. I do have some other color shirts. That's the only time I'll wear those. But generally, I'm wearing my all blacks. You know, I can walk in a river, and I've done this before. This is why I know. Like, I can like walk in water. I can walk through snow. They're not too hot. They also are not too cold when I'm on like outside, and I don't have to worry about them. Like, if they get dirty, I literally just put them in the bathtub. I just like rinse them off, good as new. Love that shit. But I'm not sure if I like this new version. I'm looking at them and what they've done. Hold on. I got my shoes right here. I'm looking at what they've done. It looks like they've done some cost cutting. Like, let me show you what mine look like. Mind you, these are old, but don't worry. You see how it has this right here, which gives you like the ankle tightening, right? Whatever here. These new ones don't have that. They look like they're cheap, like they look like they're cost cutting in a way. The originals that I have are my favorite. These are the third generation, and as you can see, I probably need to get some soon because I normally like to replace them when the soles start to wear out, which they have. You know, this is what they're supposed to look like, but you see here, they're worn. Oh, also they're light. It's also important to me. Reason why is sometimes I have my shoes in a backpack because I like to wear flip flops or my Vibrams, especially when I'm out like walking outdoors, whatever. I'm wearing my Vibrams if I can. So that means that they'll need to be in my backpack. So they need to be like light. I need to be able to like compress them down and not worry about them getting creased or whatever. Nice, nice functional shoe if you're looking for a new pair of shoes. Which that's the only thing that I'm buying like ever really are shoes, but that's only when I need them. I haven't bought a new pair of shoes in oops, sorry. Why does this keep popping up shit after I close it? Like quit. Fuck. Let me see this. Anyway, it's 1 o'clock, so I think I'm gonna have to go because I need to go and do groceries or get groceries. And I think I'm talking to myself now. So bye, William. It was nice. Peace.